So we cannot ignore the fact that the God Yahweh is disliking the goddess Astarte and Asherah. Astarte and Asherah, they are basically the same goddess in the Canaanite pantheon, although they are different, they have their own function. Each of them have her own function, but still we can see that the worship of Baal and Astarte, Asherah in the Canaanite pantheon was really bothering the God Yahweh. I was really interested about this topic throughout my life, and I started to research that a few years ago. And I was really interested to know why the God Yahweh, the God of the Abrahamic religions, really despise so much the Canaanite pantheon. Now we can observe that the God Yahweh is a new God. It's a God that came from the desert. And he's really in a big competition and with a lot of hatred against the Canaanite pantheon. Now we have to understand that the Canaanite pantheon is an ancient worship of gods. It's an ancient tradition. People were pagans. And we have today findings of an ancient temples that spreading across 10,000 years. So people used to worship gods. People understood the energy of the universe. We have a feminine and a masculine energy in the universe. Somehow people knew that. Somehow people understood, and that was their tradition. And now we have a new God, a new deity that is coming suddenly from the desert and saying that those old traditions are basically nothing, and he is the one that should be worshipped. This is a very competitive and jealous approach. This is a very jealous God. And we have to understand that even in paganism, we have different pantheons. For instance, we have the Egyptian pantheon, we have the Canaanite pantheon, we have the Sumerian pantheon. People never had fights against other gods. People used to have wars with each other, with conquering each other, but they also respected other gods. They knew that the gods are universal energy, that they are the forces of nature, and they respected every god. They paid respect to different gods when they used to travel to different countries or even in war. They had respect because they understood that basically this is the same energy with different names, but still they venerated and paid respect to every god because they understood their function. This is a universal energy. But here we have a total different tradition, a total different new religion, and a new God that is very competitive and very, very jealous. So I personally find it to be very interesting. Why the God Yahweh is so jealous and in a competition and in a war with the old traditions, with the old paganism, with the old pantheons of gods. Now, the Canaanite pantheon is focusing on worshiping nature. The gods are basically forces of nature and they're forces of the universe, and people knew how to work with the energy of the universe with the help of the gods. The gods always were assistants to the people. People knew how to predict weather conditions through their contact with the gods. They knew how to live their lives. They knew how to do agriculture. They knew when it's the best time to go for sailing. We see this wonderful tradition that is very beneficial for the human beings. Human beings were cooperating and working together with the nature energies, with the earth energies, with the sky energies, with the gods overall. They had this mutual understanding. And now we have this war, competition, and hatred. So we have this new religion, a new God, that suddenly is saying to a group of people that all your old tradition is evil and bad, and you should not follow it, and you should only follow me. It basically took the people from their comfort zone and took away all of that sacred knowledge. Now, here in this video, we're talking in particular about the goddess Astarte Asherah. Let's understand this goddess. Now, the god Yahweh really despised the goddess Asherah. Asherah is the goddess of motherhood. She's the goddess of fertility, motherhood, earth, sea. This is the most feminine energy out there. She is the mother goddess. She's the goddess who gave birth to all the other gods. She is the biggest mother out there. And what is her symbol? Her symbol is a tree. And a tree symbolizes our ancestors, our generations, our genealogy, our health. It represents human beings overall and our generations. So this is a major symbol. The tree is a major symbol. It basically gives the people roots and continuing of generations. It brings fertility, abundance, some security in the material world. And now we have this God that is saying that this is evil, this is bad, that you should cut all the Asherah trees, that you should cut all the Asherah poles. So why is this happening? Why this new deity have such hatred towards some significant symbol of human beings, which is their roots, which is their genealogy and their ancestors? We have to also understand the Canaanite pantheon, not only the Canaanite, but the ancient gods, the people who were following paganism for thousands and thousands of years. They venerated nature. They venerated the sea. They venerated the sky. They venerated the earth, the trees, rivers, lakes, everything. They believed in spirits of every location. They believed that every part of nature have spirits and have someone who rules that part of nature. We have God of the sea, we have God of the clouds, we have Goddess of earth. Everyone has its own territory. Also, the ancient people venerated the dead, and they venerated their ancestors, and they had house spirits, and they paid tribute to their ancestors, and they remembered them. And suddenly we have this shock in the tradition, in the system of human beings. So this is something major. It's not something small. The new religion brought some catastrophe and crisis to humanity. This new God, this new deity, took out the roots of the people, took out their ancestry, took out their traditions, their religion, and said that it's all negative and bad. And I know in today's day and age, there are a lot of fanatic people who maybe will watch this video and, write to me comments and say that I'm this evil person and blah, blah, blah. Like personally, I don't care. I have critical thinking and I really love history and I really try to understand what is all this fuss with all of that Abrahamic religion, you see? That Abrahamic religion took away a lot from people, took away a lot of our human tradition and our connection with the earth, with the nature forces. So this is something major. Now, my purpose is not really to say that the God Yahweh is an evil God and paganism is the best. I don't want to be in this position, because we actually have information that God Yahweh, that deity, was venerated alongside Asherah. We have some inscription from Kuntilat Adrud that was found, and it is saying to Yahweh and his Asherah. So we can see that there were some altars, some veneration to this new deity and, of course, the major deity together. As we also have information that in the Temple of Solomon, Asherah was venerated alongside God Yahweh for 300 years. They were in the same temple. So maybe, it's not the God Yahweh who we really need to, blame for. But something happened with the Old Testament writers, because they're actually shaping the information, and the information is a bit twisted, because we do have physical evidence that the major gods, the goddess, she was worshipped alongside this new deity, which is really, really understood, because this is how things were in ancient times. A lot of gods were synchronized and they were venerated together. But what is happening afterwards? What is happening actually in the writing of this book of the Bible, of the Old Testament? What is going on there? There is a huge hatred towards women. There is a huge hatred towards the goddess, the mother goddess. And I'm not saying that the old pagan religion and the Canaanite religion is all about mother goddess. No, it's not. It's 50-50. We have the major god Baal, which is a masculine force, a masculine energy, who is venerated with the goddess Astarte, Asherah, together. So we have this combining of energies. You see, the feminine and the masculine together. So we cannot say that the Canaanite religion is all about mother goddess. No, it's not correct. It was together, because we as humans, we also made out of feminine and masculine energies. And here we have some crisis. Here we have some crisis and some information that is going against nature, against the feminine energy. And as we can see, all the Abrahamic religions are really against women. Look at the woman status in those religions. In Islam, in Judaism, and even in Christianity. The woman is depicted under the man. She's coming as secondary. The man is all important and the woman is not. And there is a lot of hatred towards female energy, a lot of negative information against menstruation, against the menstrual cycle of the woman. It's depicted as something dirty, as sinful, as bad, as horrible, like all the female sexuality and her energy of being a woman is a sin, is bad, is horrible, and it's dirty. So we can see that the writers of the Abrahamic religions are really twisted. This is a very twisted religion. It's a religion that's based only on the masculine side, and even not in a beautiful way. It's totally cut off the energy of the goddess. They totally cut off the energy of Astarte and Asherah. There is no mother. There is no female. Because cutting away and saying that the menstruation cycle of the woman is sinful and disgusting and dirty is basically taking the female energy and the female sexuality in her feminine aspect and say that this is basically dirty. It's canceling out the femininity. It's canceling out the female energy. In my personal opinion, I think there were that extremist cult of men who wrote the Bible, who wrote the information in the Old Testament, and they had some twisted thoughts. This is something that I think, in my opinion. And it just got spread out to this huge tradition, and you know the rest of the history. In the Canaanite pantheon, in paganism overall, feminine and masculine energies are corresponding with each other. They're working with each other. They're beautiful, they're manifesting, they're creating. This is the essence of reality. The masculine and the feminine together that is creating this child, that is creating a new manifestation. And this beautiful veneration of your ancestors, of the tree, of the representations of your generations and ancestors of your family, this is very beautiful. And then we have something that is coming and saying that this is evil and cuts away all of this from the people's tradition. This is something that we should question. Why that happened and why people are fanatics and not really waking up to really understand what is happening here. So the God Yahweh, the information that we have that is written, is basically telling to the people to not plant any Asherah tree, to not sit under the Asherah tree, and to cut away all the Asherah poles and statues and everything that is representing that goddess. So we have also this information from the Bible that's saying the children gather wood and the fathers kindle the fire. And the women knead dough to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven. And they pour out drink offerings to other gods in order to spite me. This is something that is from the Bible, that the God Yahweh is angry, that the people are actually doing this kind of activity. Now let's look at this activity. We have this family gathering. The children gather wood, the men make the fire, the women are making dough, they're making cakes to honor this beautiful Queen of Heaven, this amazing goddess. They give her offerings and drinks. Like, this is some family beautiful activity that the family is doing. This is a bonding time of the family. What is wrong with that? You see, the jealousy is really big with this God. Or maybe with the writers that really hated that mother goddess. And the god Baal, of course. The interpretations of the Bible, and we have also different sources that dislike the Phoenicians, like the Romans. They all write about child sacrifice and about this prostitution and some horrible acts that those people did. But we have to understand that that information is actually coming from the enemies of those people, and there is no actual evidence that the Phoenicians were practicing child sacrifice. There is a prayer to God Baal which is mentioning that if you have some problem, some siege, that you need to sacrifice your firstborn. But if we will interpret that word, we can understand that it can be a firstborn of a cow, a firstborn of a lamb, a firstborn of some other animal. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to sacrifice your child. There is some twisted information about that old tradition of the Canaanites and the Phoenicians. There is some like a lot of negativity towards that tradition. And that tradition is working with the nature. That tradition is working together with the people and is very practical and beneficial for human beings. The Abrahamic religions are basically anti-nature. They are anti-nature, anti-roots, anti-generations, anti-everything. And regarding all of this information about prostitution and that the Phoenicians were doing some horrible things, again, this is a tradition and a cult of fertility and manifestation. We have Baal and we have Astarte. We have the masculine and the feminine. They're coming together in a sacred union. There were secret rites and secret rituals that were representing all of that aspect of manifestation, of fertility, of abundance. That tradition is basically all about manifesting something new in physical reality. This is the essence of that tradition. Giving birth, fertilize the earth, fertility. So in an act of some psychomagic context, we can understand that maybe yes, people did some sacred sexual rituals, which is perfectly normal. They wanted maybe to manifest something. They wanted to create something. We are sexual beings and we manifest, we give birth. There is some mystery in that tradition. And we have this anti-religion, anti-deity that is coming and saying, no, this is all evil, it's bad, let's put restriction on all of that, it's horrible, and let's all suppress our sexuality, our emotions, everything. So this religion is basically giving a sickness to the people. Because, I don't want to go too deeply with that. I will talk about it in my next videos. But when you are actually suppressing a lot of your desires, you actually starting to have a dark side. This is something that is very present in psychology. You can read about this. If you're always suppressing your desires, especially your sexual desire, you can have issues. So I understand that there were nothing wrong with the Canaanite pantheon. Everything was working correctly. Those people understood nature, they understood the reality, they understood some mystery, some secret knowledge that only they had, and they were living by that. That was their tradition. They used that for fertility, for manifestation, for abundance, for protection. They venerated the tree, they venerated Astarte and Asherah. And then some crisis came. So I don't really know why the God Yahweh is hating Astarte so much, but he clearly hates her a lot. Everything feminine, everything sacred is forbidden. The trees are cut, the tradition is cut, the roots of that tradition is cut away. And there is also, of course, the canceling of nature's spirits, of spirits overall, and this narcissistic, jealous way of only saying, I'm your only God, look at me, and venerate only me. Something twisted is happening in that religion. And we have to also understand that the idea of, one God, the idea of this monotheistic religion is already present in ancient times. It's something that is coming from the Persians, and it's also something that we can see in ancient Egypt with Akhenaton. And again, there is nothing wrong to believe that there is only one energy and one universe and only one God. It's fine, It does not matter what are you believing in. And if you have that construct in your mind, it's perfectly fine and great. But the canceling out of nature force is a bit disturbing, in my opinion. To take in this domination on the nature is a bit narcissist way, because the nature is nature and it has its own rules. and it has its own spirits and its own deities. And canceling out the mother aspect is also a very, very anti-nature thing to do. I want to mention that I'm doing those videos to enlighten people and, to have a healthy discussion. And I'm just bringing out my research, my point of view. I'm not really interested in all of those fanatic religion people that are writing to me on that channel of, their God and that I'm evil and stuff like that. Really, this is a very infantile approach. And save your energy, because I will not respond to you. Understand that. People who need to understand this information, they will understand. And also, I'm not trying to offend any person who is actually following the Abrahamic religion. It's your life, of course, you can do whatever you want. I'm not really, a hater or trying to do some wars here. No, I'm just bringing out my point of view, because it's something that I was always interested in. And I'm really interested to understand, why is this hatred towards the motherly aspect? Why there is such a hatred towards feminine energy overall? Really, we can observe that Islamic women are treated very badly by their men, and Jewish women as well, and Christian women as well. Like the statue of the woman in that religion is a secondary, but she is the creator. She is the dark matter. She is the first energy. She is the life giver. She is the cosmos, you see? She is the void. So why all of that aspect is cancelled out? Thank you for watching. Follow me on Instagram on magicalkey666. You can also purchase my book, Another Way for Tarot de Marseille, if you're interested in tarot cards. See you in my next video.